Deli Alli gave a 43-minute interview to Gary Neville earlier today. It was an emotional, heart-wrenching but brilliantly candid interview with the overlap. There's a lot that he seems to have kept inside for a long time. He admits that he has been in rehab in the United States for 6 weeks. He came out 3 weeks ago. He talks about his addiction to sleeping pills and his issues that he had as a child. Chris Kirkland had a secret addiction to painkillers that previously made him consider taking his own life, and he joins us on the line now. Chris, good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Sam, Alex, you okay?
Yeah, thanks very much for joining us and talking to us once again about these issues. Again, it's come to the fore with Deli Alli. Do you think there's been enough progress made since you revealed your issues and the issues that have obviously blighted Deli's career in recent times? Do you think football has made enough progress in dealing with them?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to say to Deli that what he's done is going to help so many people. It couldn't have been easy for him. Obviously, you know, he's been through an horrendous time since he was a youngster. So first and foremost, he should be proud of what he's done. And I'm sure it's going to help himself and it's going to help a lot of other people as well. But I don't think you can ever do enough, Sam. I know the PFA, obviously. Listen, the PFA are massively understaffed. You talk about how many players are currently involved and ex-players as well. You're talking well over 50,000 players. So the PFA are currently understaffed. They're trying to do as much as they can. Can they do more? Of course they can. Can clubs do more? For me, I think clubs can do a lot more. And I know clubs are starting to do that now, but they're the ones that listen. The PFA see the players occasionally. The clubs are the ones that see these players day in, day out. So if clubs can do more and set things up, whether it's in-house or out-of-house, because some players won't want to do it in-house, but a lot more can be done and needs to be done because, you know, we obviously seen with Gary Speed a while back, and there's been other, you know, incidents, and this players have been hiding it because they're scared to come out or that they're embarrassed. They shouldn't be embarrassed at all, and they shouldn't be scared to come out, because once you do ask for help, and I found that myself, there is people out there that will help you. The PFA helped me. You know, I went to Parkland Place. Could they have helped me a bit more? Yeah, of course they could have done. But it's the aftercare as well. It's not just when players are involved with football, it's when they leave football. That's when a lot of issues arise, because they just don't know what to do with themselves. They've been a footballer for so long that it's scary times for them, and a lot turn to you know, addiction, drink, drugs. So a lot more needs to be done. But I when I first come out, it wasn't just for footballers, it was for society in general, because this is a massive problem for everybody. You know, in the world, drugs, and I know Deli was sleeping tablets. I actually knew that he was, and I tried contacting him a few times, but was unsuccessful. So listen, Deli, if you are listening and you need to chat, and you know, someone that's been through similar, I'm always there. The same as any other players, and you know, my DMs are open. I speak to people that I don't know, and I get a lot of messages and try and help as much as I can, because that helps me. Listen, last Sunday, I think it was said that I was in a real bad place, still with mental health and a lot of other things which addiction could bring. So, as I said, what Deli's done, and on the platform he's done it with the overlap, it's going to reach a lot of people, and it's going to help so many people. But look after yourself as well, Deli, first. That's what I will say. Make sure you're right before you start trying to help others.
Chris, you mentioned that more could have been done by football clubs. What specifically do you think could have been done to help Deli Alli before it got to this extreme situation?
Well, listen, my wife's got drug tests at home, so you know she can test me anytime, and that's what's kept me off the painkillers for 15 months now. It's coming up to, because players will hide things. You know, they might be scared that they're not going to play. They're not going to. People are going to think this. People are going to think that. They might not have told. They're probably not told the family. I didn't tell my wife for years and years. So I think in-house, you know, maybe that sort of thing. But knowing that players can go to the manager, can go to the club for help with anything, with mental health, with addiction, because it's there, it's here, it's not going to go away. It's in society. It's, you know, it's always been there. It's just now the last 2-3 years it's been talked about on a daily basis. You're doing it now with this program. It's out there now, and people shouldn't feel ashamed. And it's not just football clubs, it's in workplaces as well. Have things set up where if people are struggling with addiction or mental health, they know they can go to the bosses, they know they can go to a certain place in their workplace that they're going to be able to get help. But for me, PFA, yes, they can do a lot more, and hopefully they're trying to do that. But for clubs, you see the players day in, day out. So let's get things set up in clubs. I'm sure clubs are already doing it as we speak. I'm sure there is already things set up, but it should be compulsory in every football club for me.
Do you think that it's exacerbated in football because of the spotlight that is on you? And we mentioned so much this morning about how sort of mentality you require to have a professional football career. You need to be that obsessive personality. You need to be driven. You need to fight off all comers in terms of getting to the top of your profession. And in order to maintain that, it's such an intensity that is required that you need some release. And when your release is spotlighted and highlighted by everyone, it does add pressure. And you do look to sort of hide things away. Do you think that the whole sort of spotlight and attention that you get as a footballer sometimes is underrated in terms of its impact on your mental health?
Yeah, of course it is. Listen, like, I know that I heard something the other day. I think it was Big John Parkin said that he didn't get into football to be a role model. He does what he can and that, but he got into football because he loves football. Now, obviously, footballers now and in the past that we are seen as role models, but we're also humans. You know, we all have problems. We all have, but for some, they're saying, well, he's a footballer, he shouldn't have problems. He's got all this money in the world. They shouldn't do this. It's completely wrong. Footballers, yes, they play football, but they're human beings. We suffer. We have we deal with things that every person in the world deals with, and heartache and everything like that. So it's Dele, as I said, Dele, what he's done and come out. I'm sure he wishes now he would have done this before. I certainly did. I kept it away for 10 years. I wish I would have spoke up a lot sooner. Doesn't necessarily fix the problem, but it certainly takes the weight off your shoulders, which I can only imagine what Dele's been feeling the last few years. And listen, he went through a lot more than what I went through. You know, he's obviously had some terrible things happen to him growing up. He's had to deal with a lot. So I can only imagine keeping all that in, the pressure that he's had to keep inside. You know, it's no wonder that he's broke down and he's asked for help but I'm sure he wishes he would have done it a lot sooner. And I certainly do as well. It's when you're in the spotlight, it's the simple things. You know, you can't go out for food. People say, well, of course you can go into a restaurant, but you know, you can't be like, I think the biggest thing is you can't be yourself when you're in the public eye. When you're out in the public and you're in the public eye, you can't relax. You never switch off. You know, when we didn't used to go places because my daughter and stuff was with us and didn't want anything to happen. Or people might say, well, that's just daft. It's not. You don't relax when you're out in the public eye because you're always thinking, especially now as well, you know, with cameras and social media, you just cannot get away with anything. It was a bit different going back 10, 15 years. But there is a lot, and again, I come back to the people listening to this probably thinking, well, they get paid how much? You should be able to deal with that. It's rubbish. It's got nothing to do with money at all. It's about being a human being and suffering like every human being does. And just because people are on the TV, why should they be treated any different?
Chris, thank you very much for being so candid once again. We appreciate your time.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.